It's a fine day for a conversation. This is Pep Talk, and I'm your host, Tim Padgett. On Pep Talk, we discuss the artistry of business, those intangibles, the resourcefulness, the leadership, creativity, perseverance, commitment, bravery, communication, collaboration. Today, my guest is Eliot Shapiro. Eliot and I have known each other for 20 years almost.
Thereabouts.
We met at an event for sales executives, and after that, we became good friends.
That's right.
And I've already used two uhs, and Eliot would normally be snapping his fingers to correct me on that because
I promised I'd be good.
he's a presentation trainer, and he has a workshop, which I love the title of it.
Sell it, don't tell it.
Exactly. I use that all the time because I'm in marketing, and oftentimes people want to tell way too much and not sell it. It's a 2-day workshop where it's like going into the Marines in boot camp. The first day they tear you down, and the second day they build you back up.
It's a little bit of that.
Eliot is the good cop in that relationship with his partner, Eric. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the way you've changed a culture within an organization. And what I like about the story is that Eliot went in there to help people on the inside do telemarketing calls, basically. And instead of having all of the visuals that they could bring to the table, they only had their voice.
That's right.
And so take us from the beginning of that story, because I think it's really interesting to think about what a client might assume is their superstar, and it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, so traditionally at EMS Communications, our training is focused on presentation and communication, really a broad spectrum from the C-suite and the executives usually down to middle management or so. And we offer coaching and training, customized workshops for companies. So we have this one big banking client that we've worked with for probably the last 15 years, a familiar name that most people would know. And we've worked with a lot of their top-level executives on how to give a better speech, how to give a better presentation, how to run more effective meetings. They engaged us in the last couple of years saying that they've got a team of folks that are on the phone. So this is in their home mortgage division. And a group of people on the phones that are at the very highest level. So it's not quite telemarketing. It's for calls that are coming inbound that have been escalated. People are maybe at risk of losing their home, problems with their mortgage. They want to speak to a manager. They want to speak to a manager. They want to get to the highest level they can get. This is the team to which they're directed. We were brought in saying, can we help raise the bar in terms of the customer experience? So this group of people that are on the phone, their calls were monitored. There's a whole group of quality assurance people just monitoring the phone calls and listening to the recordings. And there's a whole scorecard that they would fill out on the individuals to see, is the person representing our bank the right way? Are they handling the customer efficiently? And what they found and what we helped them find was that the people on the phones were more concerned about getting a good score on the scorecard than they were about, am I actually helping out the customer?
So there was a good process in place, which is oftentimes not the case.
Yes.
But it was not really targeted to the outcomes that you wanted.
Right. What they were targeted for was compliance. And, you know, the lawyers got involved and they helped put this scorecard together. Are we saying the customer's name the right number of times? Are we thanking them? Are we saying things the proper way to make sure that we don't open ourselves up to any sort of litigation as a result? And so what we found is that people were really focused on, let me make sure I get the best score possible. And for the people listening in, they didn't know anything about style. They were just marking the boxes to make sure they gave a good score. And their measure was, you got to get 90 to 95%. And if you don't get that, it's considered a failure and you're going to get dinged somehow or another for that.
So what did you do?
Well, we came in and they said, let's listen to some phone calls together and you can help diagnose what's wrong and maybe help us to get to what's right. So we said, let's listen to some recorded calls, and we said, give us some of your top performers, give us your Michael Jordans, and let's hear some of those. Who are the people that are doing it best? They were so excited with this one call for us to listen to, because here's a woman consistently getting 100% on her calls. So we all sat down to listen. And the people that we were working with were somewhat familiar with our processes and had been through some of our customized internal workshops there. As soon as we started the recording and got about a minute into it, we paused. We said, let's pause the recording. And the people that were there that had brought the recording along, they hadn't listened to that one in a while. They just knew that she was getting good ratings. And we see them suddenly shaking their heads. And we say, all right, what's wrong? They said, that's not the experience that we're looking for our customers to have. But it was 100%. What we listened to was a woman who was speaking really, really quickly from the mortgage company, fast, monotone, and not engaging the customer, not acknowledging issues. For example, one of the things we often heard was a customer would say something saying, I feel like you just don't care about us as customers. And rather than saying, I'm really sorry to hear you're feeling that way, let's do what we can to help turn things around, someone would say a complaint like that, and the person on the phone would say, or, okay, well, what we're trying to do. And there was no acknowledgement, no empathy, no personal feeling. And the whole goal was, let's enhance the customer experience. That's really what they were trying to do. And they realized suddenly, we're not doing that. Now, it's not easy to do when somebody gets to this level of a call. They're not going to fill out a form that says, thank you, I got great customer experience. So all the company has to go on is the scorecard and the quality people listening in.
That makes sense.
So that's the background. Once we diagnosed some of the issues there, we realized we could raise the bar on the customer experience. And we did that through training. So we were brought in with people that knew our training process from having gone through our workshops, where we videotape and we critique and we coach and we get people to experiment. And what we really, as you probably remember yourself, although it's been quite a while, is we get paid to make people miserably uncomfortable. And then they thank us and they pay us for it.
But it also comes across as very engaging.
Right. Well,
it doesn't feel natural, but it is engaging.
That's the whole point, is that, yes, we want to make you uncomfortable. We want to get you out of your normal comfort zone. Because when we get stuck in a comfort zone, we do things without realizing what we're doing. What we get people to do is experiment, and let's try it doing it this way. Let's use your hands more. Let's smile more.
That's a big part of it. They're on the phone, and they think that doesn't matter, probably, how you use your body. And I remember from sales training where before you pick up the phone, you smile.
Right.
You get ready for that call. You know that it's going to be positive. You get in that physical, mental part of it. So what did you have them do?
Well, what we found is a lot of people would just sit there kind of, back in their chair, hands up on the computer, just typing away as they're talking, slouched or maybe slumped forward in their chair and not doing anything with their body. So when we started experimenting with these people, we said, let's get you using your facial expression more, or let's get you using your hands more. So one example, this woman who was their rock star, their Michael Jordan, she was in our training. And kind of the flat, monotone voice came back right away. So we said, let's experiment. Let's get you using your hands. And of course, she's thinking, why do I need to use my hands? Nobody sees it. So what are we going to do? We said, use your hands. So we start the video camera as we're recording it. We say, come on, just use your hands. And so she's suddenly on the phone like this, just shaking her hands. She's thinking, I'm gesturing. This must be what gesturing is. And to look at it, it looked really kind of goofy and stupid. And she felt really awkward doing it. But her tone of voice completely changed as a result. Just by doing this and waving, the vocal variety kicked up. And there's more punch and passion in what she was saying, and more conviction to her message, just as a result of doing something that felt really silly. The same thing with smiling on the phone. You can tell when somebody's smiling. Yeah. And look, they're in a very stressful role, so they don't want to smile when they're saying, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose your home anyway. That you got to do a little bit something different. But to play around with your tone, to slow down, to not say, you know, like on the phone, or the big one these days is so, this word that people use to bridge from, I don't know what I'm going to say, to now I know what I'm going to say. And the customer asks you a question on the phone, well, tell me what you're going to do for me. So what we're going to do, well, that so is just filling space.
It's painful.
And it doesn't sound right. We got people to focus on pausing, on taking your time. Let a little bit of dead air sit there so you choose your words carefully. The result was incredible. Not only did we change the individual skills of the people on the phone, but what we were really able to do was shift the culture of this part of the organization. We were able to help them rewrite the scorecard to make it more customer focused, which is really the whole point. And what we were able to do was get people feeling better about what they were doing on the phone. Feeling like I could not only have more impact with this customer, but if I do this right, these calls where sometimes the customer would go on for a half hour, 45 minutes, and they just had to sit and listen, they found ways to shorten the length of that call, which is not one of their key measures, but it's important. But really what helped is we reduced the stress level. That they weren't now picking up the next call wondering, what am I going to confront? How am I going to handle this? By working on some of these tools, they actually felt better.
I can think of a lot of other businesses that could probably use that. There might be our providers of our media. There might be the airlines. Certainly a lot of government. We could use it in our village, I know for sure, because I've been talking to them later. Mm-hmm. So good stuff.
It's a model that we're looking at taking to all of our customers and out into the marketplace. As I said, typically we've been at the higher levels in an organization working with people that have to run meetings, give speeches, presentations. This is a whole new level, and what EMS is really looking to do is to be able to offer a full spectrum of services from the C-suite down to new hires and people on the phones and customer service, whether we're working with individuals or working with large groups of people. And we've got a history of getting great results, getting people out of their box, trying new things. And once they get the freedom to try new things, it's amazing where they can take their communications and how they can improve not only the way they feel, but more importantly, how they come across in meetings, presentations, and of course on phone calls.
Eliot, thanks a lot for sharing that story. I think a lot of people can relate to it. And I think it shows how you guys really think through the solution. And I don't throw around solution too much anymore because it seems like it was overused 10 years ago and now people don't respect it the same way, but I think you did a great job there. I also want to let everyone know that you also have one of my favorite newsletters that I read every time it comes out. You've been doing that for at least
15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. How many people are subscribing to it now?
We have about 4,000 people on the list that goes out to every month. It's called Speaker's Digest, and you can check it out. You can sign up for that on our website, which is at presentationtrainers.com.
Thanks a lot for coming out, Eliot. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for us today. Hope you enjoyed it.